Hey guys, it's Robin, and here is Penny, and welcome to Miss Robin's Nerd Life. So one of the things I want to talk about on my new channel here is books. I love to read, and at any given time I'm reading several books, whether it's a paper book or a coffee table book, or I have books that I keep upstairs, I have books on my Kindle, I have books that I've started and haven't finished, I have audiobooks. There's usually about 7 books on my currently reading list on Goodreads. So today I want to talk about some books that I just really love and I think are really awesome and that maybe you should check out. And you guys should totally comment down below and let me know what some of your favorite books recently are, or if you have any good recommendations for me based on what I talk about. Totally let me know, because I'm always looking for new things to read or listen to or learn from. So the first book is Angie Thomas's amazing book called The Hate You Give, and this book is, I've talked about this in a couple videos now. It's just one of those books that I think everyone should read, even though it's a YA book, kind of like Wonder, which is a, not even a YA, it's more like a young reader's book. But it just, I think it just has such great insight. And it's funny, it's heartbreaking, it is just awesome. So the book is about this girl, Star, who is an African-American girl. She lives in the hood, and she goes to a mostly white prep school. So her parents work really hard to send their kids to this other school because their neighborhood is not that great. She talks about the Fresh Prince a lot and I think that's funny. So she's at a party one night with some friends from the neighborhood, and there's a shooting, and then also she's leaving. So she leaves this party and she's with one of her old childhood friends, and as they're leaving the party they get pulled over by a cop and he is killed, and it is devastating, and what she has to go through is devastating, and she's dealing with all of this, but then also living this other life at school where she's hiding all of this and who she is from her friends and her boyfriend. And it's just a great story. You know, and I'm a white person of Latina descent, and I live in the hood. I do not live in a nice neighborhood. You might have just heard sirens going by. There are a lot of things I can relate to in this, even though I am not African American, but I have seen things I wish I haven't seen just growing up here, and there's a lot of things I can relate to. We have gangs here. I know people who've suffered because of gang violence. I don't want to give away a lot, but you know, there's a lot of talk about gang violence, about police brutality, about cultures and what it's like to grow up now as an African-American teenager, and it's just so fascinating, and it just really puts you in someone else's shoes and to experience what they're going through. And I find that it was just done so well and just so amazing, and it's just one of those books I think people should read. I've been telling a lot of my friends, my nieces, to just check it out. I don't know that much about rap, but the title of the book, The Hate You Give, comes from Tupac, and it's a reference to Thug Life, which he broke down as the hate you give little infants F's everyone. And it's about this idea that what society gives children, you know, what children have to deal with kind of perpetuates problems in life. I need to listen to that book again probably a couple times because it's so good, and it's just, I don't know, I can't say enough about it. I don't want to give away a lot, but check it out. It's great. Please read it and share it. It's just one of those books I think that's just going to be really important. I think a lot of schools are going to be reading it, and it's going to be debated. It's going to be burned and banned, I'm sure, too, because it is really controversial. And you know, you can have your own opinion about it, but I just think it's an amazing story, and Star is a great character. And yeah, Angie Thomas, this is her first book, and I think she's gonna go on and do great things because this was really, really good. Okay, so that's the only really heavy book on my list today. Another book I just read was Anansi Boys by Neil Gaiman, who is one of my favorite writers. I also listened to this book. I think all the books I'm going to talk about today are ones that I actually listened to. So Neil Gaiman is an amazing writer. He wrote American Gods, and Anansi Boys is a spin-off of that book. American Gods is now a series on Stars, which I haven't caught up on yet, but I watched the first episode. It's pretty cool. One of the really fun characters in that book is Mr. Nancy, who is the god Anansi, And this book is about his sons, Fat Charlie and Spider, and all these crazy things that happen that, you know, Fat Charlie had no idea that his father was a supernatural being at all. And he has this brother who comes into his life and totally screws up everything. And it's just funny and interesting, and there's mythology, and there's just such, like, Neil Gaiman's way of writing to me is just, I love it. I love his way with words. It's just so conversational, and there's like these pauses. I don't know how to describe them, but they're just this way that he writes that I love. And if you ever listen to him read his own books, it's amazing. And I can hear that voice even when someone else is reading his books, because it's just so prevalent in all of his writing. So this one, it's not even a new book. I don't know what year it came out in, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so funny. And I love the characters. There's all these crazy characters, from the old ladies who were from Fat Charlie's old neighborhood in Florida, to his crazy potential new mother-in-law in London, and his boss, who is another total nut job. Such cool stuff, and the way only Neil Gaiman can pull it all together. Really loved that book. I'm glad I finally got around to it. The third book I really loved recently was Timothy Zahn's Thrawn. I have been talking about this in quite a few videos because I absolutely love it. Thrawn is one of my favorite characters in the Star Wars Legends Expanded Universe series, from Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire trilogy. He just was an amazing character, and it just killed me when they first announced that Force Awakens, you know, that there was going to be a new trilogy. I hoped that they would make this trilogy and somehow incorporate that, but they didn't. But then they ended up making Thrawn a character on Rebels. So this book is really great because it gives the backstory of where Thrawn is from, how he became an Imperial officer. It also shifts point of view to his aide-de-camp, kind of an Imperial cadet who becomes, eventually he rises up through the ranks along with Thrawn, Eli Vanto. And I love when they give you the perspective of an Imperial officer who seems really normal, and they want to, you know, defend their empire, and they're not bad people, and it's really interesting. And Vanto is a smart guy, he's got a family, and, you know, the Imperials are always such villains, but they're not always. Even Thrawn has like a different side to him, and I really enjoyed that. I just have always enjoyed Timothy Zahn's Star Wars books. He's written other stuff too, and I've never gotten a chance to read them, but they're probably really good. I think even it kind of can stand alone maybe as a sci-fi book. I don't know. I'm a little biased because I'm a big Star Wars fan, you might notice. But it is great. I'm so glad that they've made Thrawn part of the new canon. Very excited about that. It's a very cool book. And finally, I'm so glad I read these books. This is actually 4 books. It is The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I hope that's how you say it. I never get that right. So it starts with the Raven Boys, Blue Lily, Lily Blue, or the Dream Thieves. I think those are reverse order. And then the Raven King. And I love these books. They remind me of things like The Vampire Diaries or Supernatural, or even, there's a couple other, it's a YA series. It's definitely a supernatural based story about a girl who comes from a psychic family, but she doesn't have psychic powers, also like True Blood and Charlene Harris kind of books. We have this character, Blue, who is the only member of her family who is not psychic, which right there is fascinating. She lives in a house full of psychic women, and she encounters a group of boys who they're called Raven Boys. They're prep school boys from Aglenby Academy in her little town in Virginia. And they're a bunch of rich prep school boys. Gamzee, Ronan Lynch. Ronan Lynch is just an awesome character. Oh my goodness, and the other 2 guys' names are totally escaping me right now. So Blue kind of becomes friends with these boys, and they're on this quest to discover the Raven King. And as they try to find out, the Raven King is like this Welsh king, Glendower, and there's all this mythology about ley lines and Glendower, and I love this stuff. It's so cool, and there's magic, and different types of magic even, because there's like some, I don't even know how to describe it. It's very multifaceted, but so fascinating. Ronan Lynch is one of the most awesome characters. I'm totally obsessed with him. He was so cool. He has like really, I don't want to spoil it, but he has some really interesting secrets, I will say that. So they're trying to find Glendower, and it just ties in all this crazy stuff in the world, in dark circles, and oh, it's so good. I was like, I couldn't wait to read the next book every time I finished one. Like, I listened to just the whole cycle so quickly. I'm gonna have to do it again. But I absolutely love the characters. Gamzee, what are their names? Adam is one of them. Adam is an interesting character because he goes to the prep school, but he is a scholarship student, so he relates differently to them. Gamzee is like super rich, and so is Ronan. And there's another boy whose name I can't remember, but he also has a really big secret. It is just so cool. And as these friends get deeper into the mystery, they discover a lot of things about themselves, about their families. Just, it's really good stuff. And like I said, if you enjoy stuff like the Vampire Diaries or Supernatural, I think you'd probably enjoy these books as well. I didn't like another book I read by Maggie, Stiefvater, something about wolves. Linger, maybe? Is that the first book in that series? I can't remember. I was not a fan of it. So that kept me off this series for a while, but a friend of mine told me about it being one of her favorites, and I absolutely agreed. It's just so cool. That is another series I'm gonna have to read again. So I listen to a lot of books because I commute 2 hours a day, so all of these were audiobooks, but I'm sure reading them is also very enjoyable. I highly recommend all of these books. Whatever is your favorite way of reading, go for it. And let me know if there are any cool books you think I should check out. I'd love to hear your recommendations. Let me know if you've read these books and what you think of them. I'd love to hear from you guys. And I hope that you will hit that subscribe button. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And I'm going to have more videos here for you to watch as well. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks for being awesome. Bye!